Hey guys, Bond here from Rebel Off-Road. We're back from our Continental Divide trip. It was a fantastic trip. Took us about 14 days to get up there and back, about 11 and a half to get to the Canadian border. What I want to do right now though is talk about some of the equipment that we bring along for an event like this. Some items are very useful. Some items are not as useful. You're not going to use necessarily everything, but one of the things you want to do is kind of learn how to prep for a big trip. Planning is obviously important. Space is obviously limited, even though in a Gladiator, I mean, I had 3 full-size, I'll say adults. My kids, one of my kids was there with his friend, but I mean, these are big kids. Long story short is we want to be able to pack just enough equipment so that you can be very successful on a trip like this. So the way I do it is I like these Pelican cases. Big fan of them. Obviously, it's going to keep everything sealed because they do have dust seals on them. But the type of equipment that you're going to bring inside of them is very important. I break it up into a couple of different categories. This one here is actually for cooking items, and this here is actually for stuff to cook with. You know, the stuff you're actually going to be cooking. I do it that way, and stuff I want to keep dry, and emergency equipment as well. When I say emergency equipment, I mean like emergency food. We'll go over some of that here in a second. But yeah, these Pelican cases are fantastic when it comes to learning how to put things in there, store them nice and tight. And the choice of your equipment, they come in many different sizes, but this is the size that I like to use, and I do like to use 2 of them. They're also, if you get a very big one, it's very bulky and hard to lift. Smaller ones, man, you know, other people can help you out depending on if you got them on the roof or if you got them inside the back or where you got them. So, talk about some of the items that I use. Obviously, you got to look for space, and one of the things that I do is, of course, yeah, I know it's going to be orange, but when it comes to space, I like to do things that are going to pop out, so they don't take up nearly as much space as usual. So they're very easy to pack away. Other things that I'm going to keep inside of this particular case here are things like our Jetboil system. Jetboil makes a great system. I like it because it packs away nice and tight. It's very easy to use, doesn't use up much gas, much propane. I like cups that are going to work. These cups pop out. You know, they're space saving. So having things that are going to not take up a lot of room is very important. Jetboil again. When you're boiling water, it's very easy to use. It's going to boil real quick. Fantastic for making coffee. I'm a big coffee guy, so I got the French press piece. And I love coffee, so for me, it's only going to take me a couple of minutes to get coffee up and running. And of course, it's a great way to get yourself going in the morning. In addition to that, a lot of people like to take paper plates, and they're great for 1 or 2 nights of camping, but quite frankly, if you're doing anything longer, it's good to have something that's long-term. So I like these. You can smack them together. They're not going to break. Same thing on the plates. All right. And they're very easy to wash the entire time. Almost every day we're going to be somewhere where we're passing by a river or a stream or camping next to one, which really made a big difference for us when it came to washing up. Pasta when you're camping is kind of fun. You know, but these things here, bowls, whether it's going to be for the dog or bowls to be washing up in or strainers, you know, all of these types of things make a big difference to how much enjoyment you're going to have when you're actually out there camping. You want to bring enough stuff, but you don't want to overdo it. Some of the other equipment that's inside of here is, of course, a shampoo, you know, conditioner. I always take extra scrubbies for cleaning up. There's always going to be extra soap. One of the things that a lot of people overlook when they're packing for camping is they're going to take a big black trash bags. Going for smaller trash bags, number 1 is they're way easy to use. Number 2 is when you need to dispose of it after a day or 2, you don't have this huge big black trash bag that you're now trying to dump when you go to a gas station to fill up. You know, that's kind of a no-no. Ideally, what you want to be able to do is you've got a small bag in there. They're not going to take offense to you throwing a small bag of trash away. A lot of the times you cook and you didn't quite finish everything up, you want to be able to put it in a Ziploc bag, chuck it in your refrigerator. So I always take Ziplocs, take a few different sizes of Ziplocs. And for me, well, koozies. Koozies are important because they keep your adult beverages kind of nice and cold. So koozies are always going to be included with my kit. Now, in both of these different ones, I always take some way to start a fire or to get a cooker going as well. So I always take a couple of these things along the way, the fire starters. Makes a big, big, big difference when you actually need to get something going. Other equipment that I bring along, these are skewers that basically for barbecuing. And if you have time and you've got you're not showing up to camp too late, it's nice to get everything set up and get a nice barbecue going. I actually take a separate barbecue to this particular cooker. Why? Because I want to give myself options. Wipes for cleaning up. Well, sometimes you're not next to a river and you need to be able to clean your bowl out, clean yourself up, etc., etc. So I always take a bag of wipes. I actually take 2 bags of wipes, one in each case. When it comes to cooking utensils and things along those lines, well, I've got them split up here, but I'll show you what I use. And I've been using this stuff for years. Everything's inside of there, and no, I don't use throwaway ones. Why? Again, for the same reason. If you throw it away and you needed it the next day, or you didn't get a chance to replenish it, you got low on it, then it turns into a headache. Go for something, either the metal ones, or in this case, the plastic ones, heavy-duty plastic ones that are going to hold up. You can actually cut with them. And inside of here, there's a whole bunch of other things for helping you cook with. This is a knife set. Now, you know, I'm a meat eater, so I like to eat my meat. Cook my steaks, etc., and chop everything up. Cutting boards inside of here too. Moving on to the second case over here. Well, as I said, this is one I keep food inside. Not just any kind of food. A lot of it's emergency food. You know, if you show up to camp late, or you had an issue with the vehicle and you've been working on the vehicle, rather than sit there and trying to cook a big meal, because then it's cumbersome, you're worried about it, is I take some emergency food along. I'll walk you through some of it. I obviously always have bars and things with us, because why? Easy to grab, easy to go. Other things that I bring along are, of course, breakfast stuff. Stuff that's going to be easy to cook. Basically, it's the type of things that you can just take and add water to. This is all dehydrated. You add water to it, and then it's easy to go. Sometimes in an early morning, for instance, even though we hadn't had an issue, but we needed to get up at 4:30 to get the day started, it's hard to then get up in there and do a big meal and then pack everything away. So I use the Jetboil again. I'm going to use things like these packages here, which are available kind of everywhere, but they work so well. It's nice to have beans if you're trying to get ready, or a quick stop along the trail. It's very nice to have something that's going to work. So canned goods also work, pull off real easy, as opposed to having to get everything out and muck around setting up camp. So this is what I use mostly on the emergency side. I always, inside of here, keep your good old aluminum foil. Now, this one's a little beat up. I use it pretty often. You get done with your cooking, it's nice to wrap stuff up. Obviously great for cooking with as well. Other things that I always take along, well, a bunch of different assortments of spices and things like that. Why? Have fun when you're cooking. Have fun when you're off-roading and you're setting up a meal. If it's just for you, or no matter who you've got along, have a good time with it. Because adding spice, the spice of life is right here, especially when you're cooking. Other things I bring, obviously going to be paper towel. This will attach to our tables, and the tables are in the back of the Gladiators. Utensils I'm also going to bring. This is for when I'm barbecuing. I also bring things for when if I'm cooking pasta. It's really good to have variety when you're camping, and especially if it's day in, day out. As I said, for us, this was a 14-day trip. I've done some much larger trips than that, longer ones, so it's very important to have the right things along so that it makes life very easy when you're cooking. Additional pieces, obviously I'm going to have salt and pepper. Why? Because you need salt and pepper. You need them for just about everything you're cooking. As I said, have fun with it. Other items that I always take are going to be batteries. Why? You're going to need lamps that are going to have batteries. You're going to have, just handy for anything, you're going to need flashlights, etc. So I take a bunch of different batteries. I take whatever equipment I have that's going to need batteries, I'm going to take batteries. I like to take good ones, make sure that they're going to be going to work for us. In addition to that, as I said, I always use 2 starters. In case one gets left behind, somebody has one, you can't find it, it got packed away in somebody else's gear. Setting up camp is very important, and being able to get your food prep going is very important. Once it starts, then you got a chance to do some of the other things like set up a tent, or etc., or get other equipment out of your vehicle. But yeah, being able to set up fast is very important. Getting food going is very important. I also do take a few other things that, like Claritin, for instance. Sometimes if you got hay fever or something along those lines, it's nice to be able to take Claritin. Advil, of course, if you're help you in the morning time sometimes after you've sat around the campfire and took it a little too far, perhaps. But great things to bring along. I also bring along eye wash. Now, I do have a full medical kit as well, but sometimes you're setting up camp, you get something in your eye, bug flies in there, eye wash as opposed to, hey, now let me go digging through my whole medical kit. So little things like that make a big difference as to whether you're going to have a good time or not when you're camping. Now, as I said, some of the equipment we used a lot of. The eye wash didn't use it once, but it's a nice and emergency piece that I can keep right there. Somebody needs it, hey, there it is. It's not, let me go digging through a big medical kit. We took quite a few medical kits with us, big ones, given the fact that we had kids along with us and it was a long trip. So with that in mind, and it was very remote to the locations we were going to. So with that in mind, you do have to have a full medical kit. This is not a substitute for that medical kit. This is going to kind of wrap it up as to where we are with how I set up when it comes to setting up camp itself, getting the food prep ready and going. This is nice and fast, and you can get it going really quick. You can also pack it away real quick. You know, if there's something was coming, flash flood warning, whatever, you needed to get out of there, it's very easy to chuck all it inside of your Pelican cases, close them up. You know they're airtight. You just chuck them in the back of the vehicle, and then you're going to be able to take off. Here's some of the other equipment that we brought along on this trip. This particular cooler is a Pelican Day Venture, and it's a sling one. We carry this inside the vehicle, great for beverages. It's got a big, thick zip on it, does not leak. I mean, we can turn this thing upside down, full of ice, doesn't leak. It is absolutely fantastic for keeping inside the cab. It's also nice and soft, so that if you do take a jar and this gets airborne, whoever it hits is not, it's not like hitting a hard piece of plastic. It's actually, it's very good. So, one of the other items that we decided we were going to test on a trip like this was having a shower. And this particular shower is the Easy Sink. I really like this bucket here. Basically, the way it works is it's powered. So it has a little 12-volt power supply that you actually charge up on USB. And you fill up this bucket here with water. Once you hit the button, water is going to start coming out and holds 5 gallons. It's fantastic. This is for your soap dispenser. So the way I would use it is, yes, it's not a hot water item, but we'd walk down to the river, put some water inside it so that you're not just standing there in the cold water. Walk on back, you can have a shower, you can dry off. This worked out to be spectacular. We actually brought 3 of these with us. You might notice a theme of the colors as well. Well, that's just because I like orange. Roto Packs. Now, this is a 3-gallon one. We took 2-gallon ones for water. We took 3-gallon ones for fuel. Each vehicle was carrying 9 gallons, 3 of these things on them, minimum. That way, if we were worried about not making to a gas station, which happened on quite a few different occasions, we knew we would have enough with us. And of course, fuel is great for starting a fire. Pelican, again, super hardcore. Now, we really enjoyed this because it's bear proof as well, so that we knew that we were in bear country a lot of the time, and having this particular Pelican with us was just fantastic. It's crazy how well insulated it is. The ice you put inside of there are going to last for days. In addition to that, you can use that ice out of there for your cocktails or anything else that you're making. But this is absolutely fantastic. Really liked having this thing, and it's very robust. Fits well with all the other Pelican cases. One of the cons of large capacity coolers is actually moving them around camp, because we're not in the pavement there. We're actually off-road and dragging these things through dirt. Well, this has got a really heavy-duty handle, and as soon as you pick it up, it's going to lift. It's got large wheels on it, which makes it fantastic for moving back and forth, fully loaded with whatever you might have inside of there over pretty much any terrain that we came across, and we came across just about everything. So, big fan of these. When you're gone for an extended period of time, you want to bring along some comforts with you. These are some of the ones that I like to bring along. I'll start with a barbecue. This is a Char-Broil Barbecue. I've had it for many years. I love barbecued food, especially when I'm camping. Kind of warms your belly, gives you a good sense of where you're at, and lets you enjoy your surroundings some more. I hook it up either to the propane on the Jeep, or I use the little propane tanks, the Coleman ones. In addition to that, having a great place to sit down. This is not just an ordinary camping seat. Yeah, it costs a few bucks, but you kind of get what you pay for. This one here is going to slide out. It'll actually let you sit upright, sit at a table. I can't stand camping tables, flimsy ones, or camping chairs, because you feel like you're rolled back. You're not really enjoying yourself. Being able to sit there and enjoy yourself is very important. One of the other items that I want to talk about is a good sleeping setup. Now, this here's a sleeping bag, and I actually take a couple of different sleeping bags. Because we were going to such different altitudes, sometimes it was very cold, and then at other times we were actually pretty hot. So this is my cold weather bag. I think this is a 20-degree bag that I use. I got a bunch of different sleeping bags depending on where I'm going. I don't take them all, but given the elevation changes that we were going through, I took 2 different bags with me for myself. Very important is getting a good night's rest. It stops you from being cranky in the morning, makes you have a great day the next day. This particular sleeping mattress is the best one that I've ever found thus far. It's an X-Ped sleeping mattress. It's air inflatable, and it's memory foam as well. And I'm 210 pounds. Sleeping on this thing, I actually get a very good night's rest. Highly recommend you get yourself a good sleeping mattress. Tent-wise, now, One of my Gladiators is set up with a rooftop tent, the other one is not. So on the one that is not, I carry 2 different tents because there were 3 of us inside of that particular vehicle, and it was very easy for these. I use pop-up tents. They set up nice and fast. You obviously need to make sure that when you have a tent that it's going to be weatherproof as well. So being comfortable, getting a good night's rest makes for a very enjoyable trip. As much as I have survived on some of my Outback trips on top ramen and granola bars, well, we've elevated our game since then. So these days what we do is, in order to keep our ribeyes and our filet mignons nice, well, we use a refrigerator. This is a Dometic CFX 355 IM, and we absolutely love this thing. I have one of them in each one of my Gladiators. It's huge on the inside. One of the great things that I love about it is, of course, it makes ice cubes. Now, ice is great. Why? It's great for your cocktails. It's great for keeping things cold. But ideally, when we're putting meat inside of here, we pack the meat down the bottom. That way, all the vegetables and everything else can go on top. Creamer for your coffee. I don't like using powdered cream. I like to have the real stuff. So this is what we use right here. And again, having the ability to make ice cubes away from civilization is fantastic, because we're gone for quite a period of time on this trip. It has these trays that you can pull out. Makes it very easy for packing. When you do hit the grocery store, this is the small one. There's a couple of big ones inside of there, but you can just pack up the trays, reach inside, stick them back in, close her up, and she's good to go. It is absolutely fantastic. We sell a ton of them, and I use them all the time. So that's some of the equipment that we use when we go off-roading, and especially on a trip like what we just did up the Canadian border. You know, it was a long trip. We took a lot of different equipment with us. Some of them we got better use of than others. And, you know, every time we go out, we're learning more. And I've been doing this for a long time. But learning more, you know, it's just like for you guys, packing for each particular trip depends on really where you're going, how many people are going with you, who's going to be inside the car, how remote you're going to be, what kind of weather you're going to be at, and in addition to that, what kind of altitude changes you're going to be at. So this is how we packed for our particular trip, trying to keep in mind that we were covering such a vast terrain over a long period of time, and of course massive changes in elevation. This is what we brought. Enjoy, guys. Hopefully it works out for you guys too. I like to eat my meat. I realized it after I said it, and I saw Evan's face too. Okay. Okay. Doesn't like me talking with my hands.